Hello and welcome to you all, and I'm glad to have you on the show. Today we'll be diving into different incidents which have been happening. One of them being is definitely we all have browsers, and if you're using a laptop, at least you've tried to use a browser extension. So there's a new vulnerability which we'll discuss about them. Then Josephine will discuss for us VRP. What is that actually? And why is it important? Without further ado, welcome, Josephine. How are you doing?
Thank you, Dale. I'm good. How are you doing?
I am okay. It's been a minute.
Yes, it has. But I know you and Angela and Daniel have had everything in control. So good to see you've made
Good
some
to
good
see you.
progress. Yeah.
Thank you. So I think I'll be the first then.
Yeah.
Question.
So let me get started then. So what are browser extensions?
So this is actually a very interesting story. I was actually reading it again, but basically, they will have browsers. Their extensions usually put for them, especially now, like for, let's say, yeah, the one I usually use is now like for the password manager. So you're able to put it there. Then whenever you want to log into something, it defaults to putting for you the password whenever you want. Or something like, let's say, a PDF reader or something like that, or for taking screenshots, there was also that one, or for converting a website into a PDF, there's also another one, browser extension for that. So there are different browser extensions. There's also ones for just changing the theme. If you want it to be black, you can get a theme for that, white. If you're a fan of those different Marvel or DC comic kind of things, and you want like Batman in the background and all that, yeah, there are extensions for that. So now imagine, okay, now this is no longer imagining because it's actually happening. So the scenario is there's a company called SpaceX. They were doing research on these extensions, and they came up with one which was supposed to be a proof of concept of how attackers can utilize this to perform attacks. So the idea is nowadays we have on Chrome, this attack is specifically for mostly Chrome. So there's this option of having different workspaces on Google Chrome. So you find that you can have a separate workspace and all that. So the attacker basically, first of all, creates a legitimate domain. Then there's a workspace for it. Then after, he disables MFA and all the other permissions. Now, onto the social engineering. What it does is, in this particular profile is installed when you set up this extension. So it will be any other extension which you go and try to download, then you download it. When you download it, now that's when it starts now doing its magic of now, by default, it will now start creating a profile and then disabling all it will create a new profile which will look exactly the same as the one which was already there before. So you won't be able to distinct it. So if it was Josephine Olok, it will also create another one called Josephine Olok. So you won't be able to differentiate between the two. Then later on, what happens is it disables all the other options which are already available on your browser extension. So whatever happens at that point is now in control of the attacker. So what happens is they'll prompt you to re-authenticate. So when they ask you to re-authenticate on this Google support option of the Google Workstation, then that's when they now start harvesting your information. So at that point, when you do that, and then you also sync, because it also gives you that option of syncing. So you'll be able to actually sync all your information, and they'll be able to access it on their end at that point. So once that has happened, they already have now full access. So now they will dabble into other things, like now wanting to, if they want to steal more credentials, they'll maybe now send for you something curated basing on what is already on your profile. So because they already have now access to it. So now if they notice that you have a company thing, and to make it worse, now remember your profile, some people store their information on Google Password Manager, which is already in your profile. So that one they already have access to it. Now, if they want other extra privileges, now, like let's say you have a company account, and you didn't put it in your password manager. So they will send an exact replica of that company page. So you'll be able to try to access it. So when you try to access it, they get the credentials because now they already have access to your browser. So yeah, it's really very interesting. When I was just going through it over and over, and I was like, oh, this is this is this is now like the new era of problems, because especially in the workspace, and we find people uh, putting so many extensions which definitely help here and there, but at the same time it could be a critical security vulnerability in the long run. Yeah.
Wow, it sounds really complicated. So let me understand it. So this will only happen. This is attacks which are exploiting browser extensions in Google, right?
Yeah.
In Google. Okay, so if I didn't
Yeah.
have a Google Chrome, it wouldn't be an issue if I wasn't using Google Chrome.
This proof of concept was basically done in Google Chrome because it's the one which has the workspace option. Though I am more leaning towards saying maybe it will also affect Edge, but with a caveat of I'm not 100% sure, because remember, Chrome is what they use to create Microsoft Edge.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
true.
as per now, we could say Chrome, specifically Chrome browsers.
Okay. And are there, is it all extensions which are vulnerable? I mean, how are these I know you've described in detail how the attacks happen, but is it all extensions which are vulnerable
No,
to
not
these
all.
attacks?
They are
Hmm.
not all. Uh, in this example, they didn't give the specific ones which were being attacked the most, or because now this one is now majorly, if you think about it, it's more of now social engineering. So they will try to utilize one or come up with one already inside the Chrome extension store. That is where they'll put theirs, then they'll try to advertise it over and over so that you're able to build wood in order to get it. But otherwise, I can't say there are specific ones which they have already. Uh, it's not more of like a waterhole kind of attack where they'll look at one which you usually use a lot, then they'll come up with one. No, this one is more of an attack where they'll kind of do more social engineering, where they'll try to figure out how do we get this person to install this particular extension.
It's very much targeted then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to speak more about how the attacks happen, or you've given us the detail?
I think I have done it justice. I was too excited. Instead of going according to script, I went off script.
Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
sure our listeners are wondering how they can protect how they can protect themselves from something like this. Can you shed some light on that?
Definitely be careful of the extensions you put on your device, and also ensure that there are definitely signs now, like let's say your CPU usage, or you see an application which doesn't look out of the ordinary because everything you can search through online. But now if you see something weird, I think that is where you can now be suspicious and be like, okay, this needs to be looked at. Yes. Then yeah, it's still something which also Chrome as Google as itself is also trying to figure out how to resolve that potential cause of the attack. But yeah, we are still in the early stages of it as panel.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes. On to VRP. What is VRP?
So VRP stands for Vulnerability Reward Program, and it's a program that's being run by Google. Really, it's a program that incentivizes security researchers to help Google report and discover vulnerabilities in Google's products and services. So it's really a way that Google is collaborating with the security community so that they proactively identify and fix flaws before they can be exploited by malicious actors. It was established in 2010, and it covers Google programs, which are it covers various programs, including Google Cloud, Android, Chrome, and other Google products.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, in terms of prices for each and every for the reward programs, have they changed? Have they changed, and has it been obviously we are expecting it to be based on the severity level. You don't give everything the same amount of money. So have they changed over the years?
Yes, I think last year Google announced that he would be increasing the payouts by about at least 5 times. They set the maximum reward to about $151,000 for a single security flow in Google VRP and Google and Cloud VRP. So, you know, of course, that is like at the top end for a security flow, but you also got things like it can give you other prices depending on what it is. So as you said, if you've got a logical flow that relates maybe to a takeover, account takeover, you can be rewarded $30,000. Cross-site scripting, $15,000, which have all increased since they launched the program. They also say that the higher rewards for critical vulnerabilities in mobile applications can go up to $300,000. And for Chrome vulnerabilities, they talk about $250,000. So the prices have definitely gone up, and it really reflects Google's commitment to prioritizing security and also encouraging researchers to look for high impact vulnerabilities. I hope that one of those the what you talked about earlier. I hope it's one of those that gets flagged and addressed as part of a flow in Chrome, Google Chrome.
Yeah, definitely. Now when it comes to how has it improved the security incident response? Definitely, this is a key area. If the more the more they reduce the time for finding vulnerabilities and bringing so many people with diverse, because now with the vulnerability reward program, it's more like a bug bounty. When you get the thing, that's when you're paid. How is that beneficial, and how has it helped the community as a whole?
Yeah, I mean the bug bounty, as they call it, program really incentivizes the research community to hunt for those bugs. So it means that there's a lot more proactivity in looking for these bugs before they can be exploited. So if you think about it, you have the security is proactive because the vulnerabilities identified before they can be exploited, so that reduces the risks of incidents. And then, of course, it improves Google's security posture and the services that are being looked at. It improves the incident response. So Google is basically receiving vulnerability reports from researchers, and they can improve their response, the response to these incidents. It helps them to understand also how their thing is can be exploited, so that they can address those gaps. And I think when you if the users know that Google is doing this and fixing vulnerabilities before they can be exploited, of course it's going to strengthen the posture of those programs, but also build a bit of a trust in the user community. So I think it helps them in their service delivery. It helps that they collaborate with researchers, and also because of the big rewards, it also means that there's a focus on really critical vulnerabilities. Of course, if you know that you're going to get hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're going to focus on those really important and high critical and impact vulnerabilities. So I think Google is really playing a crucial role in this space in maintaining the security and reliability of its services. So it'll definitely benefit all the users worldwide.
Interesting. So, this is off the books. What do you think? Like, should in countries, do you think we need also to have such reward programs, especially now? We're looking at, especially now, like major industries where definitely you'll find the tax more. A good example in the country, but will be more banking and fintechs in general, or any industry which is more of attacked. So do you think it's a worthy investment to be like, okay, there's this bug bounty program which will help with curbing most of these incidents? Do you see that happening anytime soon?
Are you asking about Uganda?
Yes, Uganda.
Yeah, I don't see it happening soon, because I don't see, you see, a lot of the people who are attacked are using applications which they perhaps they have not developed themselves. So they're likely to be relying on vendor support to address those vulnerabilities. So unless you have a vendor community, perhaps specific to different sectors, who bring about this kind of rewards, I don't see the users, the end users, the banks and the other service providers. I don't see how it would help them address the vulnerability, because they don't even own the software a lot of the times. But I do think it's a great incentive, and of course when you have a giant like Google take a lead on and set the bar high in terms of how they do their things, I think a lot of the other giants will follow, and it might become an industry practice as a result of that, which is a good thing.
I think I've only heard of one some time back about the one of Safe Border when they had just launched their product. They definitely use more of a bug bounty kind of program, and they were definitely offering incentives for those who found vulnerabilities in their system. I think that's
Oh,
why they've.
I didn't hear that. What were they offering?
It was up to like 20, if I'm not mistaken.
$20,000.
Million Ugandan shillings.
20 million. Okay, but that's still good,
That
huh?
is about like $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah, it's still it's a good incentive. It's a good,
Yeah,
and of course
around
it
that.
makes sense if that's their own application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any final thoughts?
I think, as I said, it's a great to see the different ways that, especially some of these giants are using to tackle, vulnerabilities and all that. Because honestly, it's almost like the attackers are getting more inventive, and it feels like every day there's something new, something's happening. And I think the more effort that is put towards how to beat these threat actors, the safer we will feel in using the application. And I think setting the standard high on applications will also force people to, because if you trust an application, then there's no reason for you not to use it. But if you're concerned that there's not been enough done to address vulnerabilities within the application that you want to use, then you're less likely to use it. So I think it's good that they're setting the standard quite high this way. Of course, they have the muscle, but I think it's a good initiative that they're bringing on, and hopefully we can see it, taken up more by more developers of products and services.
Yeah, I feel like it's really more beneficial, and plus you don't need to pay for more manpower, especially now if you bring in a vulnerability assessment team. First of all, it doesn't happen always. It's like maybe quarterly, and secondly, you find the skill levels are also not the same. So here you're getting a plethora of people, and you only pay them when they are delivered on the work. So I think it's really a good idea, and I feel like if we continue with this, at least definitely there's the monetary gain. So I think it will push more people in towards that area of cybersecurity, of more of bug bounty kind of programs. And
Yeah.
So with that, I would like to end here and call it a day.
Thank you, Dale. Yeah.